Hello, and welcome to another fine episode of Who's That Anime?
We're back.
And we're still talking. Yeah, we're back. And we're still talking about the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yep. We got there.
Well, I said it.
Yep.
I said it
You've
again.
met your quota for the episode by making sure to
Yep,
say the name correctly.
saying that name correctly.
So yeah, we are indeed back to discuss Haruhi Suzumiya. We should remind everyone, as I think we've done every episode so far, that we are not watching this in chronological order. We are watching this in the broadcast order, which is vastly different. I will not say it is superior. It is just different. My mind is melted.
Definitely different.
Well, I mean, let's just air our grievances right now, I suppose. So, the last episode, on our last episode, the one we did, the episode we discussed was part one of a murder mystery where some dude's been stabbed, and then
It's the remote island destination or something.
Remote Island Syndrome Part One, and it was like, you know what? I'm very excited to find out what happened. And then the next episode I watch is not part two of Remote Island Syndrome. No. It's Mysterique Sign. It is a
yes, mystery.
completely standalone episode that has fuck all to do with the island mystery.
Island.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So
The summer special.
yeah. Yeah. The fan service episode.
Yeah.
It's just it irritated me, and I suppose now that we've mentioned Mysterique Sign, we should probably talk about that. So this is episode 7 for us in the order.
Now, I do want to say you're in for a quality show tonight.
Yeah.
Or today.
This is
whenever you're listening.
Yeah,
time period.
Whenever you're listening to this. Maybe you're not even listening to this in podcast form. This could be a billion years from now, and you're just experiencing this because it's part of your molecules. Who knows? Which is, actually, I don't mean to give away too much about the show, because that's kind of where the direction we're moving in for this episode for some reason. So,
yes,
oh.
Yes, it's it goes in. Goes in deep. This one hard.
This episode goes ham on some stuff that we've never seen before.
Yeah, mainly because we're watching the broadcast order and not chronological order.
Yes. So we brought this on ourselves, and by we, I mean I have brought this upon us by suggesting we watch this in the broadcast order, and here we are.
Yeah.
This episode was something.
So, where would this be in the chronological order, Steve?
I will figure this out now. In terms of the chronological order, I seem to remember that this actually comes after both episodes of Remote Island Syndrome. So I think it's towards the end of season 1. It might actually be, let's see,
I think
6,
you're wrong.
7, 8. Oh no, sorry, it's before. It's the episode before that. Apologies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would be episode 9. But at this point, we would chronologically, yes. But at this point, we would have also experienced all 6 parts of the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. And to remind everyone, we've only experienced 50% of that so far.
3 parts.
Yes. So we're not there yet. Yeah. So unique experience. I don't understand what's going on. I understand less now than I did before, even though it's filling in the blanks to some other stuff, I think, maybe.
Alright, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you should be knowing more here, Steve. You watch more episodes, so you should know more.
So I suppose let me change that then. I may know more, but I now have more questions than I did before.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's better.
So
that's better.
Yeah, we've so at this point, this episode sort of starts out with they're hanging out in the SOS Brigade or the literature club's room, and is it Haruhi is upset that she doesn't have as many people coming to the site as she would like?
Sort of, yeah. It's mainly she ends up designing this logo
That's right.
and asks Keon to basically look at the logo, and he's all like, "What the fuck's that?
Yeah.
It just looks like a tapeworm having a heart attack or something."
Yeah, he was
Some along the lines of
he was really polite about how much he did not like her drawing.
pretty much. And this has also annoyed her more.
Which he then, says, "It's your job to update the website to have this logo. That's today's job for you." He's like, "Great,
Yeah.
love this, love it, love it. Why am I here every day?" But on top of that, there is a quote there, of course, that she is lamenting the fact that not as many people have visited the site, and she's like, "If only you would have let me put up those, mildly erotic photos of Mikuru, this wouldn't have been a problem." It's like, hang on, that's not okay.
Yeah. Well, that's why he didn't let her do it.
No, that's fine. I'm again worried about the sociopath here who thinks that this is an okay thing to. It's like, yeah, we just put up the photos of the underage girl that we have. Her also being an underage girl. Like, it's not
Yeah.
cool. None of this is good. It's all bad.
Yeah. It's all bad.
But
Alright, so he does it. He
he does.
adds the pictures to the website, and then they go home for the night. In fact, it should also state, I think this is during a holiday period for him,
Is it the exam
because
break?
he does, might be the exam break, and he's like complaining that the club is active during the exam break.
The only club, the only people that are actually in the school at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like a convenience store. Never shuts.
I like the fact that he questions why they're there. He himself, who is there.
Yeah, but he's constantly questioning that.
Yeah, I
Like,
suppose that's true.
why am
He's
I here?
questioning
Why am
that
I doing this?
when he's supposed to be in school. He's questioning whether he should be there or not. Wait, in fact, is there not a bit where like I may be skipping ahead. I'm just trying to remember. They're doing a test or something.
Mm-hmm. So they were doing exams, and Haruri,
She fell.
Jesus, I don't know why
She
it's
fell asleep.
she. Yeah, she's done done all the work.
Yeah.
Falls asleep,
Yes.
and it annoys the shit out of him.
He's really angry about that. Like he's
Yeah,
really angry.
there's there's got to be something that we're missing because we're not watching it in the right order.
I mean, maybe, or like it just really annoys him. And she's smarter than him. But
It's probably
it
that.
could be
Yeah.
that.
And then it goes along the lines of like he ends up talking about the teachers and how they're marking his answers all wrong at this moment in time.
Yes. Which you assume means because he's got the wrong answers. I could be wrong,
Yeah,
but typically that would be
he
why.
still gets annoyed. He still gets annoyed at that.
Of course.
It's like they're marking my questions wrong.
Why won't these teachers accept my alternative facts?
Yeah, alternative facts.
Yeah. As we know, Kyun's a big sort of he's like a sort of alternative truther.
He seems that way, yeah. Especially in the eyes of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yep.
I can't just say names.
Eventually.
Right, anyway, let's move on. So they're in the room. The website kind of comes corrupt overnight somehow.
Yeah.
It goes all weird. It's like, whoa, what's happened? We've been hacked. Cracked.
Hacked, cracked, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. What do we call it? Don't know. And then basically Haruhi comes in eventually.
Wait. No. Mikuru.
Mikuru.
Yeah.
Haruhi, please?
Haruhi's already there.
Oh yeah,
She's the one that's
Keon
blaming
goes,
cyber terrorists for hacking the SOS brigade.
yeah. Keon knocks on the door and walks in and goes, "Oh, it's just you. Oh, Yuki's here too, by the way. Oh yeah, but she lives. She lives in this room.
He says that she is basically part of the furniture.
Basically,
He's
yeah.
not wrong.
So, he's so upset in this episode. It's unbelievable.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah,
Yeah,
so she's there. Haru's there. What's his name? Koiza. Uh,
yeah. Poison.
he's not there yet.
He
Um,
he that he then appears.
yeah, he also knocks. In fact, yeah, she gets really pissed off with the fact that he knocks on the door. And the only reason he's knocking on the door is because he's like, well, you never know when like you could be changing Mikuru for no reason. So like I just wanted to be safe. And then yeah, Koizumi does the same thing where he knocks on the door. And he's like,
Yeah,
why is she not angry about him knocking on the door? Like, what's this about? She was really, really
yeah,
upset about it.
yeah. He's really going through some random. Um, yeah. So she's like, oh, because she got disappointed that he was a visitor of some sort.
Yeah. Yeah, like she was expecting someone.
Yeah. And then eventually Mikuru appears because yay, Mikuru's appeared, and then she brings someone
Yes, she does.
who hires the group to find her missing boyfriend.
Oh, this reveal is amazing. This is a great reveal. It's like, because who's your boyfriend? Oh yeah, the only reason I came here is because, my boyfriend is always talking about the SOS brigade. And it's like, really? Who is he? And she says his name. And she's like, never heard of him. Who's that? It's like, oh, he's the head of the computer club.
Ah, yeah. And then everyone kind of like goes, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like the news articles of him getting sexually harassing Mikuru.
It's just as well as it's the oh yeah, that guy we extorted for stuff.
Yeah. He cried over getting the computer in that part.
I feel so bad for that guy. But also, I was quite surprised. I don't know about you at this point, where I was like, he has a girlfriend. Okay, I guess I didn't expect that, but okay, that's fine.
Oh, you going with the classic computer club nerd, no
Yeah,
girlfriend in school.
A little bit. But also at the same time, I feel justified.
Stereotyping.
I was stereotyping. But it was that thing of like where she's like, of course we'll accept the case, and like, right, cool. How do we solve the case?
Yeah.
So they end up going to the guy's apartment, right?
Yeah, because basically he's not been heard for a few days apparently.
They mention that they think he might have gone to Nicaragua, so South America, or is it Honduras? One of the two.
Somewhere in South America, because that's where his parents work.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So they expect he just slipped out and went there, but the girlfriend is pretty adamant that, it seems more something bad's happened to him.
Yeah. And they say, why didn't you go to the police? And then the police weren't taking it up, so they came here.
Yep.
That's Keon's theory anyway. So the next day, they go to his apartment. And I think Haruhi tries the door and then knocks on the door so she can get in.
Another good bit for Keon to get really angry at, where she like tries the handle, the first thing, and then rings the doorbell. He's like, "Oh, why didn't you ring the doorbell first? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong, but
yeah. And I say, "Oh well, we can't actually get in. It's locked. We need to go through the window. We'll break into the window." And Keon's like, "Oh, I don't want a criminal record."
yeah. And it's like, well, no, we'll break in the window. It's like, well, we're 3 floors up, and we're not we're not sophisticated burglars or anything like that. So I don't think that's really possible. And she's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. Which, to be fair, as well, is she like totally accepts that for some reason. That seems like a fine excuse to her.
Well, she is going to go with the excuse of going to the caretaker and asking for the key because they're friends who
They're worried
feel
about
like
him.
she's
Yeah, they're worried about him.
worried about him. Yeah. And then Yuki's there and holds the door handle, and then it magically opens.
Definitely a bit of voodoo
As
going
if
on there.
she's as if she opened the door and reason. And then, so they go in, have a look around because it's open. Let's just go in.
Yep.
Type thing is like what? Still wrong.
Still wrong, but yeah, okay.
And then you don't find him. He's not there.
No, but Harui's hungry, and
Yeah,
like there's some like weird. I don't get this. Like she like then goes to like force feed Mikuru out of date food from the fridge, and it's really awkward.
yeah,
It's yeah.
yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I just feel like she's got some jealous vibes going. It's like
Well,
I'm going to kill you.
yeah, I guess Kyun is definitely his attention is with Mikuru a lot of the time. So, which is probably
Yeah,
fair to say. But no sooner are they in there, um, Koizumi gets kind of very uppity in a not really Koizumi type of way, and it's like, yeah, we need to go now.
yeah,
We need to get out of here right now. And again,
yeah,
like Kyun in this episode is just very upset about everything. He's like, "Get out of my face! You're too close. What's going on?"
yeah.
It's really
And Yuki was like,
inconvenienced.
"Yep."
Yeah,
And Yuki confirms that I need to get out of that room.
yeah. Something's not good here, and he's like, "Okay, fine. I guess we'll go." And then they do, and head downstairs. And Harui's like, "Yeah, cool. Guess we'll go. Bye, guys." And just kind of
Yeah,
fucks
I'm
off.
done.
Yeah, she's bored already. I
Yeah.
haven't found him yet,
Oh,
but you know,
that's right.
but she's bored. So
Yeah, that's just good because in case I'm good, she has to go back into the apartment
yes,
because it smells like closed space.
yes, which is a thing we've heard before. I think in the baseball episode.
Yeah. And is it in the first part of the remote island syndrome?
It might be actually, yeah, when Koizumi and Kyun are talking. I think that might be something that comes up.
Yeah, it might some of that. Yeah. Yeah. So they go back in, and then Yuki casts her magic alien spells, and they get teleported into a desert world.
Uh, Again, this never having happened before just
Yeah.
happens. And again, Kyun is very upset about it, as am I at this point, because I've got no idea what's going on. But Kyun is very upset. It's like, would you tell me? Tell me when you're going to do stuff like that. Where the fuck am I? I was in an apartment,
Pretty much.
and now I'm in this creepy place.
That's weird desert
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that the implication here, I think that what they're driving at is that this is it endless space or whatever it's called. It's not actually the endless space. It just smells like it. It's like it, but it's not the same. But they suspect that like
Hmm.
a pocket of whatever this is was created in the computer guy's apartment, and he's now somewhere in here. And they also suspect the reason they had to get out of there when Haruhi was there is because she created that space somehow. They think, um,
Yeah.
and
At the moment, yeah.
yeah, they're not quite sure how or why or anything like that. But they it seemed, and again we can't confirm, although from the information we've got from the boredom of Haruhi Suzumiya in the baseball episode is that she's very dangerous around this sort of space. So getting her away
Hmm.
from it is probably paramount. Um, and so they did. But yeah, it seems like they now believe that this the boyfriend that they're being asked to find was essentially sucked into this other space that now exists, which is like a desert.
Yeah. And then Yuki points to the distance, and Kyo's like, "No, tell me what you're doing first. Don't just point."
That's
And
right.
she goes, "I'm doing nothing." Looks like
Yeah.
then
She's
like,
literally just going to point like, oh, look over there. But he's like, God, please no more spells.
Pretty much, yeah. And then so he turns around and sees a big bug. What was it called? What type of bug was it?
I
It's
can't.
some form of grasshopper.
I can't remember. Fact checking does absolutely not kill podcasts. So let me just make sure.
That we're all ought to speed on the facts.
Yeah, I wish I'd written it down now. Next. Where are we?
Was that cricket?
Cricket, it might be.
No. Army.
It is. Oh, fucking hell. Very difficult to find because I am not Googling the right words. So it's a cricket. I think you're right.
Okay, let's go with cricket. A big giant grasshopper and cricket thing.
Yeah.
It's a certain type
Yes.
because Keon asks, "What the hell's that?" And he says, "Is this cricket?" It's like,
No, I know.
wow.
I know that.
I know. It's like 10 times the size of me.
I feel it might be an order of magnitude or 12 above what I'm expecting in size for that typical thing. So he's not happy about it, and obviously like he and like Mikuru doesn't seem to have any way to defend herself. Really, she's got no guns because they wouldn't let her travel with them. She makes that
Yep,
very
not like
clear.
guns.
And of course, Kyun makes sure to say is that she'd probably end up like leaving on a bus or something. So it's probably just as well she doesn't have any weapons. So basically, they're then sort of reliant on Yuki and Koisme to attack this big cricket thing. Is it a camel cricket? Camel cricket.
I think camel cricket. Let's go with camel cricket.
Camel cricket sounds good, right?
It sounds good
So
because it's in the desert.
yeah,
There's not much water
yeah,
in the desert.
yeah. Camel
See the
cricket.
linkage there?
It is indeed a camel cricket.
There you go.
So
Camel
it
cricket.
eventually came back to me. So the guy they're looking for is sort of inside the camel cricket.
Yeah, because it's a data entry from another alien species, just like Yuki. Only they thought it all died away, apparently, or something like that. Or maybe that's something learned later.
I
But
think that is, but that kind of leads us down that we're gonna talk about some stuff. But essentially, it's like this. It was generated by this guy's presence in this area because of his fears and anxiety. It has sort of built a wall around him, or something like that.
yeah, he turned into something he didn't like. Anyway, so he's the cricket, and so it's feeding off his brain waves to make it run better,
Yep.
more efficient.
I mean, I don't see how we could be clearer on this.
Yeah.
This is all
Wow.
very self-explanatory.
Very much. So, anyway, so you get to see Koizumi's powers.
Yep.
In this one.
He's at 1/10 power.
Like, yeah, and he shoots big fireballs.
And he's still powerful.
It seems pretty powerful,
yep.
Yeah.
So they, I guess they kind of like battle the big cricket, the camel cricket, with some fireballs and some force fields. The whole time with Kyon and Mikuru dossing about, trying not to get hurt.
Yeah.
and then they defeat the big bug, and it just kind of goes away.
Yep, and then they're back in the room.
Yep, you're back in the room now. Back in the room, and
Uh,
so is the
and
guy. He's lying on the floor.
unconscious.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's back now.
And then, yeah. And then it goes to the next day of school, essentially.
Yeah,
Back in the clubhouse.
and they're trying to fix the logo, and then or they're about to fix the logo, and then it kind of becomes clear that the logo itself was actually what kickstarted the series of events.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, the thing that they fought in this closed space was been on Earth for what, 22,000 years or something?
It's millions of years, hundreds of millions of years, I think.
What was it? And basically kind of starved itself because there's nothing on Earth for it to live off.
Yeah.
And then it went into hibernation.
Yep.
And then the internet came about, the digital age came about, and started like feeding off that for a bit.
Yep.
And then Haruhi created her logo and uploaded it, which then kickstarted it all off, I believe.
Yeah. So the data entry, it's the way they talk about the creature's data entry. It's a little bit like it's a DNA sequence for a creature, because they talk about like that data sequence being extinct or thought to be extinct.
Yeah.
But also they reference the fact that the logo, or Yuki says that the logo itself contains something like 160 petabytes of data.
That's quite a lot of data.
Even though Kyon says it's like, what is it, 100 kilobytes?
Yeah. That picture's only 100 kilobytes, what?
That really got me thinking about how would it be possible to have something that has more data in it than its size in a readable format?
There was a webpage experiment where you could create like a web page out of like a few characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Was that
And
that interpolated data?
Yeah, so they would kind of load up into a web page. It wouldn't like anything. It just looked like maybe an image or something. I think it was like a couple of years back. I looked at it, and basically it was like he had a big URL. It was a URL,
Yeah.
and you could put so much into the URL, and then it would interpolate what was in the URL into like a kind of like very basic web page.
But I suppose the thing about that is that that's following an algorithm or an equation to spit out data.
Yeah, well, it's kind of be the same in this instance.
Well, in a way it is, because it's interpreting data that's not there.
Well,
it's creating data out of information. What I'm saying is would it be possible to store literal information?
I don't know. It's that. I don't know. They talk about quantum drives and stuff like that.
That got me thinking for quite a while. That was in my brain for a long time today.
Wow. So is that the thing that when you go to bed and you go try to sleep, it'll be coming in. It's like, what if I did like drew that squiggly line, and then that line was like some
was everything.
Was everything?
Yeah. I suppose it's that thing of. I definitely didn't sleep very well last night, and it absolutely was because of that, and not because I watched a horror movie that did not agree with me.
When you say it didn't agree with you, it actually got under your skin.
There were a couple of moments that were pretty horrifying.
What time were you watching this? In bed?
About 11:45, which is maybe not the best time to be watching a horror movie, but
get your adrenaline pumping.
Yep, just just in time to relax and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
let's relax.
That's pretty much the episode then. That kind of ends on that, right?
It ends on that, and Haruhi comes in, and they go, and Keon goes, "Oh, the guys came back
Oh, that's
to
right.
school." She was like, "Oh, that's cool. Told you would show up. It's just the melancholy or something they were
Uh,
calling it."
yeah, yeah. The Melancholy Maze.
Uh, yeah, and also find out that he didn't have a girlfriend.
Yes.
She wasn't the girlfriend, so it's all that. And then Keon kind of suspects that Yuki manipulated a lot of things
Yeah.
to get things flowing, so she can get either to have some fun or just to eliminate this thing.
That was an interesting thing. Was that it? It's there's a number of possibilities. Like you say, it was either she was just having a bit of fun, or she was trying to problem solve dealing with that entity, that data entry thing, or she was just
Yeah.
trying to keep Harui busy.
Oh, yeah, not bored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and of course the other thing is that now the website had I think it was it was something like it's not even it's like 97 views or something like that, and 90% of those are Harui going, why don't we have more views? And then now it's got like nearly 30,000.
yeah. Oh, another thing that came from it is like anyone that's looked at the website is essentially infected by a data entry because it kind of it's pretty much just talking like it's essentially a virus. It creates links or something in the website,
Yeah, yeah.
but affects the human brain.
So
But they didn't go and save anyone else.
no,
So do we? Are we going to go and save these
and
people?
then it's just like probably
That's
not,
fine. Let's not go and talk about that.
probably not. So what do
Yeah,
you rate this one then?
it was good. It's a good start one. You got to see stuff happening. Some action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, some intrigue. A bit more. What the hell this anime is all about?
Yep.
It's not like Samurai Champloo, where it's apparently about nothing. Um, but the journey. I need to watch that all the way through at some point. One of these days. One of these
One of
days.
these days.
Anyway, so the rating. Well, I'm going to keep it high. I'm going to say. We're going to say a 7.
I am going to agree with you there. Not the most entertaining episode, but high on
Oh,
intrigue. And
yeah.
I enjoyed Keon being a total pain in the ass the whole episode. It was great. He's just such a big mood through the whole way through the episode. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
He
Um,
was, yeah.
so now we get to move on with Remote Island Syndrome Part Two.
Oh, you're going to love it.
So previously, they've gone away to an island. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Koizumi has arranged with family or friends of family or something like that to go away.
Rich friend,
Yeah,
yeah, I think.
to go away to an island, a remote island, to a mansion that has only just been built, where an older brother, and his younger brother live there. The whole gang are there, including Kyon's little sister. Um,
Oh, mm-hmm.
and
Oh, keep going, keep going.
yeah, and essentially what happens is that Harui is like, oh, what if someone died? What if someone died? What if there was like a murder or something? And then the episode ends when they kick down a door and find out that the older brother, the guy who owns the building, has been stabbed.
Has been stabbed.
has been stabbed.
Yes.
Joyous.
Yeah, yes, he's been stabbed. What I just remember when you were talking there is part of the something that came from the last episode that we watched, the one with the big insect.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially Keon, I think, is realized his position within the in the group. He's like, "Do you have some superpowers?" Blah blah blah. No, I'm just a realist guy. I'll try and stop Harry being doing all these illegal shit that she wants to do.
Yeah, he is the SOS Brigade's conscience.
Yeah, very much.
Per him.
That's why he's there.
Per him.
Anyway, back to Remote Island Syndrome Part 2.
So yeah, dude's been stabbed. They're all pretty shook up about it.
Yes.
They are sequestered to a room until someone can investigate to what's happened. The butler is kind of keeping close tabs. The younger brother is still missing, as he was in the previous episode, so it seems pretty suspicious. Little sister of Kyon just thinks that the guy's sick. Mikuru is bedridden at the shock of seeing a murdered person.
Yeah.
And Yuki is even more robotic than normal, just kind of sitting, doing pretty much nothing. And then
just reading away.
Yeah, and then Haruhi and Kyon have a bit of a conversation where they leave the room and she says, Yuki, lock the door and don't let anyone back in. She's like, okay, so the door gets locked. And they have this conversation about, what it is they've seen, because I think she had heard, she's talking about the fact that the younger brother was suspicious, and that I think Mikuru had confided in her that when they were on the beach they had seen the two brothers arguing the day before, and also that when she had gone to the toilet the night before, she'd overheard the younger brother talking about needing to get his passport and everything sorted for travel immediately, and that all of a sudden kind of clicking together to make it sound very bad for the younger brother, I suppose, at this point.
Yeah.
And I guess at this point she's like, well, fucking go and figure out what's going on here. We need to go and check out the room. But the butler's there, and he's not super keen on letting them in.
No, says he's called the police, and the police told him they can't go in to disturb the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
So they go away, and then Koizumi, she say he was looking for the brother but couldn't find him.
Yep.
And then the maid comes in and says, "Oh, I think he left back at 1 in the morning."
Yep.
And then they go, all right. And they're like, let's go outside and have a search in this typhoon.
And let's go outside into the really dangerous storm. And then they kind of get really close to a cliff edge, and it's like, look, the boat's gone. He did leave. And then she's like, oh my god, there's somebody over there. And it's like, wait,
there's a shadow over there.
Why would there be somebody there? And then he basically she drags him by the hand through the typhoon across very, very dangerous terrain. And of course they
go down a narrow path.
Yeah, they stumble and fall off of a cliff. And Kyon provides a very useful, cushion to her as they fall off the cliff, and she's like, "Oh my god, is he okay?" And he's like, "Oh, maybe, I guess. Like, I'm fine. I think." I'd be pissed. She's just dragged him off a cliff.
I just think Kyon's technically depressed.
I mean,
doesn't have any emotion.
I feel like this is where, like in the previous episode, we were seeing like how like weirdly engaged he is in Mikuru's character, but in this one, I feel like there's like the opposite, where it's like showing more interest in Haruhi in that sort of way, in sort of a more romantic way. And then, of course, they can't get back up onto the path they were on, so there's no real escape. So they end up going to hide in a cave to get out of the way of the typhoon for a while and dry off.
Which is oddly warm, apparently.
Yes, and there's a really weird, like, I don't know if you noticed this. This whole sequence is really weird because they start having a conversation about their suspicions about how this all went down, but it never shows anyone's face. It's focused on her shorts, her crop top, his chest, which he's rubbing with his shirt to dry himself off. That's the whole conversation takes place at those focal points.
Yeah, he does wring out his shirt as well.
He does wring out his shirt, yeah. It's just, it's weird. Like, I mean, I know what it's getting at, but it's very overt. It's unapologetic in its obviousness.
suppose. I haven't picked up on it.
Yeah. Well, and then of course Haruhi sort of starts to put two and two together. Doing her little bit
Yeah.
of Columbo. Oh, one more thing. I think I've got it here.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, and they did I think they kind of reenacted the murder scene and how she thought it went down.
Yep.
In kind of like real life. I think it was actually people drawn up.
I was going to say it did look
a red mask over it.
It looked rotoscoped.
Yeah.
Because the animation style was completely different, and it was all very sketchy.
Yeah, and red.
And red, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like it was like people, actual actors doing that.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of cool. Changing art style up. Got budget. I like ghost stories. It was
zero rotoscoping going on in there.
Zero budget.
Yeah, also true.
Anyway, so yeah, so she was basically stating, all right. So the murders happened. They had a fight. The younger brothers, picked up a fruit knife.
Yep.
And tried to stab his brother in anger.
Well, accidentally stabbed, I think is what she says.
Yeah, but it was in anger.
Yeah.
Because they're having a fight.
Yep.
So with his fury, he was like, stab. And so, oh no! It got spooked.
Yep.
And kind of ran out the door. But his older brother isn't stabbed because it went into his notebook.
Well, he is stabbed.
Yeah.
He is a bit injured.
Not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a wee graze on his nipple or something.
Yeah, it didn't go into his heart, is what she says, because it's gone into the book, basically. Yeah. As you predicted, actually, in the previous episode that we talked about this.
I did. I told you, he's not dead.
Well, he's not dead at that part of the story, anyway. And then now they talk about how it does end him.
Yeah, he does die. And then so, what was he thinking? He gets up groggy, locks the door, and then she falls over.
Sorry to stop you there, but she also does confide that other bit of information where she says, when we were in the room, I touched the body, and it was still warm. And of course, if he had been killed at 1 a.m. or before then, before the brother left, the body wouldn't have been warm.
Wouldn't be as warm.
So the suspicion is that he couldn't have been dead upon the first incident. But obviously the incident must have happened for the brother to have left.
Yeah, unless he left and then somehow came back and killed his brother later.
Which wouldn't have happened because of the storm. So.
Yeah. So then, so Keon says, well, that's wrong because he wouldn't have fallen in his front. He would have fallen from behind. And then Haruhi goes, oh yeah, you're right. And then goes, ah. And then, at this point in the anime, she has a flash. It was like a wee flash of like distortion in the anime.
Yep.
Like as if she's changed something.
Yeah, because I don't know whether it's like it's supposed to be like a visual representation of like an inflection point for a character, where because obviously we come to find out why she because she's holding back. She knows.
Yeah.
She knows something. And when Kyon tries to quiz her on it, she's just like, no, I guess you're right. I didn't have all the answers. I guess I was wrong. And it's like, well, that's not your character. You don't admit being wrong, ever. So, there's something more at play here. And of course, it sort of, I guess the way it would turn out, we won't say just yet, is that she kind of knows exactly what's happened, really.
Yeah, to a degree.
I would argue that she knows, because there's a whole stink made about how much she's loving it, that she knows everything. I think she knew everything, like to a fault, everything.
Okay.
But of course, then at that point, they hear a voice.
Yeah, asking if they're all right.
Yep.
Basically, and then they get back into the mansion.
Yep.
Because
the weather's better now, so other people could get out to look for them.
No, I still thought the weather was pretty shit.
Is it still really bad?
I don't know.
I thought it was blue
I think
sky
it
when they
was.
looked out the tunnel. Maybe I was wrong.
I think you remember looking at it tunnel. Disappeared in the room.
Well, they get back in
Ah,
anyway.
see. Yeah. And then go back in. Is this when they try to get into the room again?
So, no. I think this is when they're down in the kitchen and the kid's trying to steal, the younger sister's trying to get food.
Yeah.
And because Kyon is now dried up and in new clothes, he comes downstairs, finds his little sister trying to steal some food, and realizes that one of the plates is already empty.
Oh, she realizes because she goes,
Yep.
"It's no fair. Someone's already had their food."
Yeah, and it turns out she's like, "Oh, that was the butler." The maid says it was the butler because he hadn't eaten anything since the morning.
Mhm.
And so she thought she would give him something to eat. And then I think Kyun and they all try to go back into the room that
Yeah,
Yuki's
that's
in.
it. Yeah, this is the point.
It's like, hey, Yuki, open up. No, no, like please, let us back in. I can't. Why not? It's like, well, you told me not to let anyone back in. It's like, no, I know I said that, but I meant like anyone you don't know. Like, you know us, we're in the SOS brigade. It's like, I know. So let us in. I can't do that.
Pretty much. And then the kid sister goes like, "But you opened the door to let me out." Like, yeah, I was only told not to let people in.
That's so
I
good.
wasn't told to
That's
let people
so
out.
good. It's such a subtle little twist of the knife as well. It's like, no, I wasn't told anything about letting people out, so we're good.
Yeah.
But then like Kyon's like, enough of this. So hey, Yuki, maybe you'd like some new orders. She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. Maybe you could let us in, and the door just opens. Like,
Pretty
what the
much.
fuck's going on here? I did like Haruhi kind of going, it's like, you don't need to be so literal about everything all the time. God. So annoyed.
Yeah.
But of course they go back in the room and I think then Kyon and Koizumi end up having a bit of a conversation. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's when Koizumi sort of tries to highlight that he knows what's happened here.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, "Oh, it's all right. It's all the truth." But uh, when the older brother goes to lock the door, we barge in and bash the knife into his heart,
Yep.
and that's when he dies.
It's like, so,
We killed him,
yep.
and Hooray knows this
Yep.
and doesn't want to continue with this investigation anymore.
Yep.
And then like Keon goes off and goes, "What? All right, well, I better start silencing the witnesses then."
Right. So this gets very weird very quickly here. Because he literally stands up and just is like, well, I guess I'd better make sure that nobody ever talks about this, and just like puts his hands around Koizumi's throat. It's like, wait, what's happening here? It
Yeah,
just takes such a turn.
it's literally Keon is just like, "Huh, I killed someone already. I'll just kill to make sure I'm quiet."
One person's dead. I guess another one's not going to matter. And
Yeah,
then, of course, the next thing you know is the butler is being ushered by the younger sister. Because he's like, I found Mr. Koizumi, and he's like been stabbed a bunch of times and stuff
but by a knife.
by a knife.
And
Oh my god.
Butler's like, "What?"
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. And
What?
of course runs away. And at that point, Harui and Kyon are back in the murder room, and they're like, well,
Yeah,
now that he's gone, all we need to do now is make it look like the butler is totally crazy, so that we can get away with this. Um, so yeah, that's a good idea. It's like, well, we're gonna need to put a bunch more knife wounds in this body though.
yeah.
This is all very, very dark at this point. And he
Yeah.
shouts something like, "It's like, here I go!"
Something like that, yeah.
And all of a sudden, the dead body gets up and's like, no, don't do that. Don't stab me. And then we're back in the breakfast room with everyone.
Yep, yep, doing the whole telling the story and putting out the evidence, so taking every
Yep.
murder mystery clue.
Objection. This is
That's it.
this is so Phoenix Wright. It has to be a direct rip of it.
What are you on about? I don't understand that it's Phoenix Wright at all. It's not Phoenix Wright. What? No,
Like
no,
even
I don't think so.
I mean, obviously it's parodying Phoenix Wright, but like even like I feel like they even got the animations and traced them. That's like the bit where she like palms her hands on the desks and then goes. Pff. It's like nope, that's 100% Phoenix Wright's animation.
And the bit where she's tapping away
Yeah,
at the evidence, does that,
it's so good. It's so good.
and she's like, and lays it on thinking about how they solved it.
I loved it. I loved that part. And of course, she's
Basically.
she's super into the fact that she solved this, uh,
Mhm.
and all the clues that came together, and the first the kind of clues as they were, because Koizumi's been in on this the whole time as well. It's Koizumi's been in on it,
Yeah,
the butler's been in on it, the maid's been in on it, both the brothers have been in on it, and the way it kind of went down was that I think when Koizumi got off the boat, he'd said to the butler and the maid, "It's good to see you again." But it turns out that they'd only been working there for a week, so he would never have
yeah,
met them. So there was like something
yeah,
going on there, and the plate of food.
because
Oh, sorry, go on.
yeah, because it's when they went to bed to go to the body the first time, talk to the butler
That's right.
and talk to him, and he was like, "Oh, I would know what their actions together were because I've only been here a week. Me and the maid have
Yeah,
only been here a week." And then Keon kind of flashbacks to the previous episode where they landed
yep,
with a thought, and it doesn't smell right.
yep.
Anyway, yeah,
And then it's the plate
um,
of food, because it was empty except for the carrots, and
and
it cutlery, which
Cutler,
he
yeah.
had noticed that the older brother was the only person in the house that didn't use chopsticks. He used a knife and fork.
Mm.
So he'd suspected that he was
And
alive.
possibly the butler too, because they don't think they've seen the butler eat.
But there was something to do with the carrots. It was
I think
he wouldn't
he
have left the
noticed that the
carrots.
carrots. Yeah, he didn't like carrots or something.
It's something like that, or
Can't remember what that was.
it was something basically that the
Yeah,
presence of the carrots made them believe it was more the brother than it was the butler. Um,
yeah,
and obviously the fight was all faked. The passport conversation was all faked.
yeah,
The knife was just a prop knife in a book in a pocket, and the whole thing had just been kind of a setup, really. Um,
yeah.
for reasons that are different for everyone, I suppose at this point. Um,
Well, you forgot to mention the younger brother does an Edgeworth animation.
oh, he does. That's right.
Yeah, he totally does Edgeworth like, ah, you got me there
So he
animation,
does. Oh
and
god,
shakes his head.
the attention to detail on this is actually pretty good. It's pretty dang good.
You gotta
Um,
be good on the attention to detail with stuff.
and then I guess at that point it's sort of they're back on the boat, heading home.
Yeah, it's end of the journey to go on the boat. Koizumi and Kyon are having a discussion again about stuff, and it's like, oh, she wasn't really into it at the end type thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and like, all these people were part of the organization that Koizumi is
Oh,
part
the
of.
Esper Society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was like, when did you figure that bit out? And it was like, I kind of always known about that
Yeah.
actually. I had my suspicions from the start, mainly because it was very suspicious.
I think it's at that point, there is the further down the line of questioning is that during the episode, Kyon starts to ask about whether it's Haruhi who's causing all this, by willing it into existence. And these are a lot of the things that I questioned and we questioned when we talked about the first episode. It's like, where is this all just being willed into existence because Haruhi's doing it, or is somebody doing this for
Oh,
her entertainment? And it turned out to be the latter, because that Koizumi was like, just to try and keep her not bored, essentially. Uh,
yeah,
that's why we've done this. But of course, like he says, is that she did lose interest,
yeah.
and
She did that then.
something changed at that point.
Yeah, I think, and also the shadow behind the rock
Yes, because we never
wasn't any
identify
of
that.
them.
No.
And he was like, "Well, we didn't have anyone there. What are you on about?"
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, there really is something nasty in that island."
Yep. Although it's either
And
that, or it's, as he says, it was just a trick of the weather, which potentially it could be. Or maybe she has willed something horrendous into existence on that island.
yeah, they do look back at it and go, "Oh shit."
Yep.
Also, I don't know. It's the whole glint in the cave bit where she either changes what has actually happened, where maybe the guy did get murdered and then she's changed his reality.
So that that's a good point. Is that although the bit that makes me think that that's not the case
Mm-hmm.
is that they go to the cave after they've had the conversation with the butler the first time, and the butler
Okay.
announces a plot twist at that point, because he puts a kind of he puts a plot hole in there, if that would be the case, because
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Koizumi has already said it's good to see you again, and the butler has already said I've only worked here a week when that change
Yeah.
before that change happens. So it might have been a send up to start with. Like, it might have been a thing to keep her entertained to start with. But maybe you're right. Maybe something did go. Maybe they did actually kill him by barging the door open.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the change.
No.
Maybe they realized, is like, she to protect him. She does say that, is, like, to protect him, that we she can't have that be the reality.
Yeah, that's what Kyon says. Kyon should never wish anyone
To be dead.
uh, to be dead.
She is actually
That's not
genuinely
her
upset. Like,
mentality.
she does seem very upset about the fact that somebody might be dead, and she of course doesn't know that she's willing things into existence, but she's just sad that
Yeah.
she is genuinely seems quite despondent about the fact that she wanted this thing so badly, and then for it to happen feels terrible. Um, I think you're right. I think you
Yeah.
might be right. I think maybe the outcome wasn't so jokey. Maybe like
Yeah.
somebody legitimately did die.
It's possible. What I would say is running up to the door. That was what part of her evidence. It was like Koizumi ran to the door and knew exactly where he was heading to.
That was
Type
part
thing.
of the evidence, yeah, because he knew exactly. So
Yeah.
that again holds water to the idea that there was always a ploy for it to be an entertainment for her,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe the guy did end up dying when he wasn't supposed to.
Possibly, yeah. Um. Huh. But anyway, that's basically that episode. That's that done. That's that's that part finished.
I Okay, you go. How'd you feel about it?
Uh, I like the reference in it. I like the Yuki's reaction to taking things literally.
Yep.
Uh, Story twist. Can't predict. We'll predict it last in the last source that he's not dead.
Did you? But that's the funny
Fake.
part is you did predict that, but did you predict the change that she changed it to?
No, no. I'll admit one thing is I technically have watched these before, but it was good. Well, I don't know. a good 10 years ago at least. But I haven't watched them all,
It's about to get
and I
very
might
real
be
then.
watching them. I remember getting up to maybe a musical festival one with a band. Because it's like, yeah, let's learn instruments. We're going to learn instruments, and we're going to be centre stage in the school festival here.
I am going
And
to
they're
make
like,
a
what? We don't
prediction.
know how to
I'm
write.
going to make a prediction to you right here and now that
Uh-huh.
that will be the episode called Bamboo Leaf Rhapsody.
Yeah, that's probably that one. Yeah.
So how do you rate this then?
I'm going to go and put it up to an 8. I'm going to keep it hard to.
I love the references.
Mm-hmm.
Really funny at points. Like the Yuki stuff was really funny. The weird dark turn of Kyon murdering Koizumi and then going to stab a corpse for a bit was like both horrifying and really funny. I liked how much this episode made me think about the confines of the situation and how, like, the conversations we've had is like, how did this setup happen? What really occurred here? What changed when she made that thought, when she like put two and two together in a way? Like,
Yeah.
I have to give this one a 9.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
I thought it was
Show,
a really good wrap up to the previous episode as well. Like, I liked the fact the guy wasn't dead. I also like the fact that the potential is that the guy probably did or could have died, and that was changed because it didn't fit the narrative that she wanted. I think is fascinating. Like there's a lot of
yeah.
really interesting stuff I think can come from that for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's I just will mention that at this point in the show, Keon mentions that he's been in a closed space, a dark closed space
yes,
before, and doesn't want to be back in.
and I don't. That wouldn't be in reference to the desert. I don't think.
No, because he was talking about a dark grey
Yeah,
looking out into the sea in the storm.
that's right. Yeah, it reminded him of a closed space that he never wanted to be back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
So
This is a good episode. It's a really good episode. We're definitely
yeah,
ramping up the intrigue now. Like I'm starting to feel it a bit. The one before, like the
yeah,
Mr. Eek sign episode was good, but I don't think had enough lead into what else had happened already. Like there wasn't enough to connect things, but I feel like this episode there was enough information for me to like not know everything, but to draw my own conclusions in a meaningful way. Which I
yeah,
think the
yeah.
first episode did really well as well, where it's like we had some of the conversations about what was really happening and things like that. So yeah,
You mean the second episode?
the first episode too.
Oh, your first episode of
Remote Island Syndrome.
the island.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the first part.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's us for this evening.
Mm.
Next time we will be back with episodes 9 and 10, which is another episode in isolation, Someday in the Rain. And then episode 10, we get back into it with the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya Part 4.
Oh, do you remember what happened in part 3?
Yes. No.
That's good
Yes.
then. No,
No, I remember. I remember. It's
is that the
where,
one that were in the train station looking for things?
uh,
Or
yes. Because it's the one where he loses his bike and then ends up going to talk to Yuki, and she's like, by the way, I'm an alien.
no,
Is that the end of episode 2? Part 2?
that's it. I think that's 2.
What the
Yeah,
fuck happens in part 3?
we get a Koizumi coming.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it's Koizumi admitting that he's
An Esper.
an Esper. and it
Yeah,
admits
so
that he's part of an agency, that he doesn't always 100% agree with their methods and their
yeah,
thinking.
uh,
But yeah,
and was Mikuru is a time traveler as well. I think they set the grounds for all the weird members.
they do. Yeah, because she's that's the one where because that's where they're out looking for cases. Yeah, the first conversation that Kyun has with her is about how she's actually a time traveler, and he doesn't really believe her,
Yeah.
even though he's just been told that you know Yuki's an alien. He's like, I don't like where this is
Yeah.
going, and then it's like, also, by the way, Itsuki Koizumi is also an Esper. He's like, God, I don't know about this, guys. Like, it seems unlikely that all three of you are going to come away with something like that. So I guess maybe this is true.
Maybe it's getting true. Yeah.
But we'll be back with those
Uh,
episodes. Um,
mhm.
you can, if you're listening to this in podcast form, uh, you can find a video component of this eventually. We're working out a home for those right now, and we'll probably post somewhere on a nice clean segue on our Facebook page. Just recently acquired a name for it by giving it a custom URL, so it's facebook.com/who's that anime. We are also available in podcast form if you're listening to this on anchor.fm. You can find us in all of your podcasting software, anything pretty much, you should be able to find us. We really appreciate a review or, a star rating. Doesn't need to be 5 stars, but 5 stars would be appreciated. It probably helps with
Oh,
the algorithm that helps you push your podcast in different directions, preferably up into the charts of something to be picked up.
whoring yourself out here, Steve.
Already, yeah. I mean, at least I'm not
Yeah.
like I haven't told you about this week's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Um,
Wait, that's not a thing still, is it?
it's I don't know if it's still a thing, and it's also definitely not our episode sponsor. We have no sponsor, which is fine. Uh, we don't
Yep.
have a sponsor for this. We just do this out of enjoyment. But it would be really cool if you want to follow us on our Facebook page or download the podcast, or eventually when we post something about where to watch the videos, it would be cool to get a subscription to that as well. If you
Yep.
are interested in watching video games, Colin streams on twitch.tv/couchfuel, COUCHFUEL, playing through various games. There's also available Couch Fuel on YouTube. There's quite a back
Yep.
catalogue of different games, lots of different things,
We got
from
beer
horror to
now.
beat 'em ups to party games, loads of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we did some Injustice and stuff and that.
Yeah.
Beat ups. I'm trying to think of beat ups because
Tekken 7,
guys don't play it.
Tekken 7.
Oh yeah, we
We
did
played
Tekken
Tekken 7 and we
Yeah.
played Soul Calibur 5, 6?
6.
6?
Yeah, we made those custom characters.
We did, and that was a nightmare. Also, I play some horror games sometimes on twitch.tv/HailPaimon, HailPaimon. Please feel free to join in if I'm ever streaming. A subscription to any of those channels would be awesome. We will be back with the next 2 episodes next time. And until then, I guess we will see you later.
Yeah, keep watching.
The skies.
Keep watching the skies.
Truth is
you
out
never know
there.
when they might.
The truth is out there.
Alright. It's out there. Truth is out there. Oh god.
Bye, folks.
Right.